about Jim Steranko's work for me in doing this video is he's someone that I'm kind of getting familiar with right now. I've been aware of his work for a long time, and when you see pieces like this, you fully kind of get why he's heralded as one of the great visionaries of comics. But what I found as someone trying to get into his work is it's a little hard to locate sometimes, and he kind of worked in a few different styles depending on when you sort of catch him in his career, but his best stuff is absolutely incredible. So what I did is I spent a little time last night, due diligence, and cherry picked what I thought were really interesting pieces from a wide variety of comic books that he had done. This is from a book that he did in 1982 called Outland, which is a movie adaptation of a Sean Connery film that I'm not familiar with. And it was originally, I think, published by Metal Hurlant, and then it was republished by Heavy Metal Magazine as short stories that they ran kind of sequentially. So if you Google it, you can find it. The hardcover from Metal Hurlant is about $200, so it's pretty pricey if you want to get it that way. I would recommend hunting down the Heavy Metal magazines if you would like it. This was probably my favorite stuff that I saw. It was just a coincidence that this was the last JPEG to open. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, so people recommend stuff all the time to me, and just to be clear before we get into this video, I mean, I try to look for every artist that's recommended, and then it falls into a few different categories, which is one, does it sort of fit the theme that I'm sort of into at the moment? And then two, people surprise me and they throw something out and I immediately bump it to the front of the line. It sounds interesting to me. It's an artist like Steranko where I've been interested in trying to dissect it more, and these videos do actually help me sort of rationalize and break down the stuff. And then three, there's honestly, there's artists that I have shot videos for, finished the video and gone, this isn't really gonna work for YouTube today or at this moment. And in fact, I did one of an artist that I love. I went out to my storage, I grabbed all the books, I brought them in, I shot the video twice, and I just decided I didn't want to upload it because it just isn't relevant right now. So this stuff seemed relevant. It's got balls. Like Punisher is on deck. I've got a really good, really cool concept for Punisher moving forward. So anyway, let's get to the video and do it full screen mode. And yeah, so this is a beautiful layout. His stuff can get very graphic. Early on, you'll see more of a Jack Kirby influence on the work, but I think that if you kind of understand the state of Marvel when he broke in, as far as I can tell, is they even had Jack Kirby doing layouts for him initially, but we'll see that later. I think I've got a few pages from the issues, but to me that stuff is actually more underwhelming, and when Steranko is allowed to be Steranko, you got something that was even more magical. But you can feel Jack Kirby in his stuff. I believe you can feel some Will Eisner in his stuff, and probably more knowledgeable comic fans could even suggest other people that might have had an impact. His stuff has a very 60s 70s sort of retro feel to it, and I mean, like, it reminds me sometimes of like pop art posters and sort of like art that you might see on like a show poster from like 1968 or 65. It looked to me like he might have broke in 69. I could be incorrect with that, but those were the earlier dates that I was seeing of him actually working, but that sounds almost too late. I almost would believe that he broke in earlier, but this stuff is great. He did use some photo reference with his work. There's a book called Steranko Noir where you can see some photographs of him as a young man posing for some stuff, but there's no crime to that. It's just that's how he gets this level of authenticity at times, and then also is able to stylize above that. But I mean, this stuff is really incredible. This guy is a legit draftsman in every sense of the word. The stuff is compositionally sound. It's compositionally forward thinking. It's really well done, and it's great comic art. At his best, he is freaking incredible. But again, I had to really, well, I didn't have to really look around like hard, but I'm just saying that, like, I mean, this to me, these were the most appealing images that I could find that were decent size, and I think I really grabbed some great stuff. So this is a beautiful piece, and if for some reason something slips in that's not Steranko, I do apologize, but I did my best to try to eliminate that risk. This is so awesome. This car is so funny. Those guys, Wally Wood, you can see a little bit of Wally Wood in his stuff too, but Wally Wood was incredible, and it wouldn't surprise me that anyone would be inspired and kind of excited by his work. But man, these guys, the way that they would render the boots, like even something as simple as this that doesn't have a ton of detail, I love the lighting on them. It's just so freaking good. All these guys were really great at that. Look at this. I'm telling you, this Outland stuff is the bee's knees. It is so badass. But yeah, feel free to put any recommendations. There's no artist that is off the list, to be clear. It just, like I said, there's a timing for everything, so anything is possible. This is great. The colors are actually really, really cool too. It's real simple, but when chosen well, excuse me, this flat coloring I think can really look excellent. So it just depends on how it's used, and again the color harmony of everything. There's another page from it. Really, really cool lighting on this. It's just like, am I gonna have a cough fit again? Oh, yeah. It poured literally for like 6 hours last night at my house. It was dumping buckets. Even probably 30 minutes ago, it was insane. The people across the street from me were boogie boarding down the street. That's how hard it was raining. I could hear yelling. I was like, what is going on? And it was their kids on boogie boards flying down the street. This is really, really cool. He does this logo great too. It's funny because there's a page, I might have this in here twice, but there's a shot that's an interior. I wonder if it's in here, but man, like I don't know if he created a stencil for this or what, but it's like it's the most accurate drawing of a logo, especially back then. Like now people might do it in Illustrator or draw half of it and flip it or whatever, but like this guy, he really, really was into it. This is great. And this has that Kirby feel. I wonder, maybe this is Kirby, and I screwed up. But anyway, I don't know if Kirby would be so careful with the logo. So this is one of the more iconic covers, and this is actually kind of like a collage. He does at times use photostats and backgrounds, and you'll see some of that going on. But Kirby did too. I mean, again, it was a very avant-garde style, and I mean, you can clearly see that he was into this whole psychedelia thing, which is actually really, really cool, and he does it beautifully. And honestly, in comic books at this time, I can't really think of a lot of, at least quote-unquote mainstream artists that did it. I'm really into underground comics too, so although we haven't hit on that, and someone recommended Phil Hale, I will definitely do Phil Hale. I have a great Phil Hale collection, not only of books but of stuff that I've saved over the last like 20 years. He's amazing. But yeah, a lot of the sort of like Bay Area underground comics and stuff like that, some of the guys would get into this a little bit, but even still, Steranko kind of like, he owned this. So this is great too. It's funny because I think this was the first piece that I saw, and it reminded me of 2001 Space Odyssey, even though there's more people here, but it was, obviously kind of post that, and I could see that would still have had a ripple effect, but I've never seen Outland, so I don't really know the premise of the movie overall, but it looks cool. At least this adaptation does. This is nice. I mean, he drew the shoe. I mean, this is I'm always a big fan of people that will turn things like this, and even this. There's a nice subtlety to the bottom of the shoe here. But one smart thing that he did is, even though these are indented, he didn't really play up the actual the form that much, because really this would start to go down. These boots are still in perspective, so these would start to go in a little bit more, but he keeps it kind of flat and more graphic. The color could be sort of like making it look more simplistic, but this would take forever to fill in the blacks. I talk about that a lot on pages. this stuff with this real graphic thing, I think sometimes people go, oh, it's easier because it's all blacked out. It's not. And in fact, Mignola even says, he goes, people always go, oh, yeah, I did a piece in your style because it was so much easier. It was so much faster. And Mike's like, man, if you know a fast way to do this, let me know because I've never figured it out. Yeah, spotting a ton of black on pages and having all these little inlets and this isn't a great example of it, but you can see this has got a lot of a Kirby vibe. But I'm sure there was pressure at Marvel to draw as much like Kirby as possible because this was really a moment where it would be necessary. So these are scans from the IDW Artist Edition or Artisan Edition. I'm not sure which it is. Steranko actually designed the book, and these are scanned off the original boards. This is from a website that I've referenced before. In fact, I think he saw the video that I did. This is I'll put a link to his site. I think it's AE Index, and he buys all these artist index, and he'll document them. He doesn't go through the whole book, but he'll take a nice selection of snapshots to give you a taste of what's inside the book. So it's a really, really nice way to get a preview of what's inside the artist edition, and maybe get a sense of if it's for you or not. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he saw the Michael Golden yearbook one that I did. And if you're a fan of Michael Golden, you probably like this stuff. Sunday, I'm going to do a spotlight on Michael Golden Bucky O'Hare for Easter. Get it? It's a rabbit character, I think. I don't know, is Bucky the rabbit? I think he's the rabbit. Yeah, so Sunday I'm going to do a Bucky O'Hare video. I'm going to start actually getting it together in terms of like getting my art together soon, because I believe the collection that I have is from Echoes of Future Past. I stumbled on that magazine a long time ago, and not when it was being published, like way after in like back issue bins, but I was like, oh my god, this is like heavy metal but different, no one knows about it. And I honestly, I never really knew anybody personally, meaning in person, that ever collected them. But yeah, I'd stumbled on it somewhere. Saw like a really kick-ass, I think it was a Neil Adams cover with like Tarzan or something on it. I was like, what is this? Yeah, so Bucky O'Hare is cool and it'll be fun. So these are real nice pages. It's very, very fun to see it in black and white. And again, to me, this is a more transitional part of Steranko. You can actually see Sterankoisms coming in quite heavily here. At the same time, he's keeping it grounded in pretty classic Marvel stuff. And I could see where if you were a fan of Kirby and John Romita Jr. and stuff like this guy would just seem like he was nuts. It's like Kirby, but more detailed or crazier. We can see the little photo stat here of the Statue of Liberty. Again, very, very Kirby-esque in these. And these actually might have been from Kirby layouts. This is looking a bit like this stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, these are from 3 issues of Strange Tales that were consecutive. And I want to say it was it 111 through 113 or 235? It was something. He did 3 issues of something that I think was issues 111 through 113. You can look at, there's a Steranko bibliography online. Look for that, not the Wikipedia page. Wikipedia doesn't list the books that he worked on. That's really cool. But yeah, I'm trying, honestly, like even with anything, drawing or whatever it is, this is a very wonky pose, but I kind of like it. It grew on me pretty quick, but it is very... It's like dancing. I'm assuming this is again. Oh, so this is Strange Tales 159. So it might have been 159, 158. It's 3 in a row. But these could be Kirby layouts, and that's why he had trouble with the pose, because he probably doesn't foreshorten the way that Kirby does, and so Kirby would have pulled this mass down more. And what happened was he kept the legs Kirby-esque, but the torso lifted. And so it feels more straight up and down. And then he also drew the head almost straight up and down. This is always problematic. I tell people all the time, get away from straight on shots and side views. It will freaking kill any kind of energy that you have in your work. And it's the worst, that T-pose in like anatomy books where this figure is standing straight towards you with like the arms up or down. That thing is death. To ground how you learn to draw from that is literally the worst possible thing ever. I'm the only person I've ever heard say that, but it's like, why would you start learning how to draw figures from a stiff pose to begin with? It's like, if you cement that in your head, anything, any pose that you would ever try to do after that is you're already working kind of like under duress. So when I show people how to draw, I immediately just show them weird angles of stuff so that you're already used to just moving geometry in space. you know but yeah, and there's artists that use, Mignola uses a lot of front views, but it's not, it's he knows how to do so much more. So we'll move through these. Some of these pages didn't really do much for me. Oh, and here's the black and white of this. So this is Steranko, but it probably is Kirby layout. Yeah, that logo on him is just so dead on. It's really, really interesting. It's cool. It looked dark in the book. I couldn't figure out really what was going on. I mean, I could tell what was going on, but I didn't know what was making it so dark. This is really cool. Some of these pages are a little busy for me, but that's more of a personal aesthetic. Is I'm not a big fan of like. Also, I can't stand team books where people are just standing around. I know that's not necessarily the case here, but I've worked on enough team books to know that it's like, two guys are fighting and 5 characters are standing around in the background. It's just, to me, it's pointless. Look how busy this is. This is really amazing. This is where it was feeling a little Wally Wood to me, in particular on this page. But he's funny. He's very copious with his notes, a little bit like Alex Toth. And I'm not saying that all of these are Steranko's notes, but yeah, Alex Toth would write in the borders of his art all the time. But it wouldn't surprise me if Steranko was a bit of a control freak. Maybe he's not, but team books can work, though, to be clear. But I find that like writers sometimes don't really know how to manage the characters well. That's my opinion. Is like, I don't need to see characters standing around just because you wanted to have a team book. This is really cool. It's so Kirby. It's like big core shadow and checkerboards. That's the Steranko aesthetic. This is cool. I actually, it looks really neat. I love that discolor thing. We'll do Wally Wood at some point too. I have the big artist edition of Wally Wood. I've never really gone through it with a fine-tooth comb, even for myself. So, okay, so we're gonna move through these because I've got a lot to do. And again, this just gives you a taste of what's in the artist edition. Again, to me, it's a little too all one size. But if you're a big Steranko fan, these might mean more to you. But it's just, it kind of looks like wallpaper a little to my eye. This is nice. I saw this in color just this morning when I was looking for pages. Okay, so it was Strange Tales 151, 152, and 153. This is all cool. It reads a little clearer. Layouts. Jumpin' Jack Kirby. Jaunty Jim Steranko. Okay, that should be... Oh, and this is a little bit of design element. This book is absolutely gigantic, too. It's one of the hugest artist editions that I've seen in terms of actual scale. It is really big. And in fact, what was funny is at Comic-Con, when I did one of my live streams, I went over to Quan Chang's the art dealer's booth, and Steranko was signing literally right there, and I put the camera on him for a second, and his security quickly told me to stop it. No filming, Mr. Steranko, or I'll break your legs. I didn't mean to disrespect the guy. I just was like, hey, there's a famous guy sitting 2 feet from me. Let's get him on camera for just a split second. Which was actually probably disrespectful on my part. So I'll claim that I was probably... It wasn't cool. I didn't know that he had like a no photos policy or something like that, though, either, in my defense. So these are some color scans from probably Captain America, looks like. I'm not sure if the book is Captain America. He did a lot of like, not a lot, but there was definitely some crossovers and books that had characters but had different titles. We've got a lot to get through, so we can hustle through these. These are nice, though. This is nice. It's more clear. I prefer this. This is more open. The stuff reads well. It doesn't feel cluttered. And, yeah. That's my preference. Boom. I'd be curious if he did the boom or if it was done later. It's interesting. There's this sort of a transition going on with the work. This is starting to feel almost like stuff that's more yeah, like even mid 80s. And I don't know what year this was drawn exactly, but yeah, the proportions even feel a little like something that maybe would influence Mark Silvestri or Wills or something. I really do think that when Neil Adams came into comics, people started to change their structure a bit. Even famous artists sort of saw the power of what Neil Adams was doing, and they could draw good enough to sort of incorporate some of that into their work. And so the again, it's kind of a proportional thing. Like these are cartoony proportions. The heads are a little bigger, the bodies are more stocky, and Neil would give them much more lean bodies and kind of slightly more realistic proportions. But they're still big, you know. Like they're, if you count heads, they would be larger than an ordinary man. Which you can see that in the Marvel book. They sort of show superhero proportions versus, you know, what a, you know, 21-year-old male would look like that's not Captain America. America. She's like, yo, over there. I like this. I saw this a few times. This must be a very iconic image for him, understandably. But yeah, this is cool. This thing would go for a ridiculous amount of money. Oh my god. I can't even imagine if this was auctioned off how much that would go for. Some crazy Steranko fan that's got deep pockets would drop a bucket load of money on it. Okay, so we'll go through these kind of quicker. It's a wild Captain America pose up at the top, man. This dude is bringing it. Oh, that gun is awesome. That's really cool. I love that pinky purple that they have on it. That's crazy. There was, you know, I tried to figure out who drew it. This is great. Jim Rugg from the KFab, cartoonist KFab, shared a piece recently on his Instagram that was like Vietnam 200 BC or something like that. And it looked like a black velvet, like glow-in-the-dark poster. It was such a kick-ass piece of art. And I really wasn't 100% sure if he was promoting it for someone else or if he drew it. But it had a little bit of this vibe, but it had that old school, like blacklight poster thing, which was really, really awesome and just beautiful. So keep your eyes out for that. It's I think it was called Vietnam 200 or 300 BC, and it's got this like black guy and all these dinosaurs are like coming on him, but he's got equipment like he would have been fighting in Vietnam in like in '66. So it looked cool. This is such a great piece. This would go for a shit ton of money too, no doubt about it. This would be, man, a lot. This is cool. This was nice too. Man, I love stuff like this. There's so much environment to it. It's really, really a great drawing. That looks so fun. I like the way he draws Captain America's anatomy on the legs. I might actually... Patreon, if you're hanging in there for this video, I know these get long. I'm going to break down a figure today for you guys, so we'll work on that. And I've got a bunch of lessons to do too. I think I'm shooting 5 videos today or 6. So I keep busy, even though like I know that people are like, oh, it was cool when you were doing 2 YouTube videos. I'm shooting like 4 or 5 a day. I knock out a bunch. And I'm working on 3 books at once. Take that. No one No one understands how driven I am. I'm far beyond driven. That is cool. This is a great, great pose. Again, this to me feels like it's teetering into the Neil Adams age a little bit. Clothes are starting to change a little bit. You could almost. What's interesting is this has a tiny bit of a Wrightson vibe, but Wrightson I think was pretty heavily influenced by Adams and clearly Frazetta too. But yeah, this is harkening back. It's almost got a little bit of an Al Williamson kind of thing too. Um, but he's keeping those Kirby-esque guns, and then this is this nice hybrid of it. But yeah, he really renders these legs great. It's really cool. It's stylish anatomy, but man, it looks great. This is solid too. His chest and how the arm attaches is really, really good. All this is great. So for Steranko fans, I hope that this is fun and I'm not butchering the deets too much. Not too much. Again, these are for entertainment. I don't know what I'm talking about. I literally just kind of wing it and sort of bullshit my way through these videos as best I can. So that's really, really great. It was fascinating seeing that Mark Drucker video and how good he was with fabric and how he would really handle different fabric in different ways. It was really, really incredible. This is great. This is really, really cool. This is, to me, like, very iconic Steranko, like this sort of vibe. And it, you know, it reminds me a tiny bit of Will Eisner. Not literally, but, you know. Hulk, my boy. Love the Hulk. Oh, come on. OpenGL crashed. I hate you, OpenGL. It's more like closed GL. This is cool, too. He could do a Neil Gaiman book with this style. It's really interesting to see these Kirby structured heads. It's really funny. That's really nice, too. Again, a little Al Williamson, little of that strange fantasy kind of vibe. That's cool. Throw it, Hulk. Throw it. No one. That's interesting. It was funny. So I met with the guys from Humanoids years ago, and I remember one of the things that they said was they weren't. It was like they were a little torn on this sort of approach to panel layout. I don't know if it was like an American thing that didn't really translate over into like French comics or what it was, but yeah, it was like he's like, I don't know about this. But I think it works. It's cool. It's different. I mean, is it necessary? It's debatable. I mean, they could be beats of time, like if you're reading it, like, you know. But it if you look at the Scott McCloud book, I mean, he probably discusses it as it's kind of one moment, but also each person's moment. It's like this moment, this moment, this moment, this moment, all consecutively or simultaneously, more actually. This is cool. Oh yeah, that booty. This is nice though. He connects this anatomy great. This is really, really kick-ass too. Yeah, this is really good. This dude knows how to draw legs great. He looked really athletic. There's a photo of him like kind of sitting with his legs crossed. It's like a down shot with him in shadow. And dude looked like a professional swimmer. He was in real good shape. That's nice. Why do I love the Hulk so much? He's a little small for me here, but I don't know, something about the Hulk that's cool. Hulk and Ghost Rider. I do like Wolverine too. Although Wolverine's just been dragged through the mud. I just like the core idea of Wolverine. Past that, I don't really understand what all's gone on. I don't have time to read it all. Okay. I wonder if this was it. It might have been. I'm just impressed by how well drawn the logo is, because it's like, it takes patience. It's not hard, but it's just nicely done. And it's not like he has Photoshop where he could draw it once and then just transform it into perspective there. So, I don't know. This is cool. His ellipse template got to work out. The one thing you want to watch if you're going to use any kind of template like that, though, is I would recommend, like for these type of things, don't just outline the whole circle. You have to put a line weight at least on one edge. Generally speaking, the light will be coming from, well, the closer edge. So this rim you can make a little bit thinner and then make this one a little bit thicker, or break it up even here and then have just these arcing. But yeah, just to take the ellipse or circle and to just do it is like literally the same line weight all the way around. It's not a great look, especially now. I mean, back then I think there was a different aesthetic. That is a long figure. Holy cow. The proportions are totally off on this, but it's, I get where he's going with it. But yeah, Cap's body is looking like it's 7 feet long from here to here. He's mad. Don't make him mad. Bring in guns. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's a shame that he couldn't do a Neil Gaiman story. It would look interesting. He handles this material well, the sort of vintagey stuff, and you don't see a lot of it in his normal work. Oh, maybe this was it. I can't remember. That's nice. That's really cool. Her pose is a little tiny bit stiff. She's leaning is what it is. Her body is like falling this way. You have to watch your center of gravity with this stuff. She needs to be rotated. Oh, god dang it. Oh, give me one sec. Nudge it just a little. That's a little bit better. It's a little more grounded. But yeah, she's like starting to fall this way. That's cool. Very rubbery figure, but that actually looks cool. And this is great, man. This panel is awesome. But yeah, I like this. This is just unusual. You wouldn't see a lot of people doing this. And if someone copied it, it would be very, very obvious where they got it from. But to me, it's got a cool sort of vibe to it. Uniquely his. This is great, though. Damn. That all day, friends. That's really, really cool. It gets a little rubbery right there. If you just tighten that up just the littlest bit. It's like drooping. Could be the color. No, the line work is there too, though. That's a great glove. Man, that is awesome. Very cool lighting. I like how he hits some shines and stuff through the middle of it. And then this is really nicely done. Yeah, this is really good. And you see, these fingers just vanish. What do I tell people, anyone that's watching my hand videos on Patreon, what are the fingers that I draw? I tell you, I draw the pointer finger, the thumb, and the pinky. And if I do those, these are a no-brainer. And what did he do? He just ditched them. Boom. I'm telling you, I know this stuff. But yeah, if you can get your thumb, pointer, and your pinky finger, to hell with the middle finger and the other one. They're worthless. Only from certain poses, though, actually. That rule doesn't apply to fists, but the other stuff, it's pretty good to go. These two sort of, they fall a little like dominoes that are sort of rotating. This is nice. This is going to be a long video. I got to hustle. I got stuff to do. Again, he keeps these poses very rubbery. Could see McFarlane being into this early on. And again, with the knee, he does, it's funny, he does the kneecap and then the sort of ligaments and stuff that are there. He knows this stuff good. He's definitely studied like a real anatomy book. It's all there, suggested. It's a tricky little area, can be. This is cool. Oh man, this is awesome. I actually did shut him. I had 2 Jack Kirby pieces that I stumbled upon when I was putting this together that I wanted to show you all, but I just decided to keep it all Steranko. This is really cool. That's a nice dynamic cover. Oh yeah, this is a very, very iconic cover for him too. Captain America 113. Steranko. And I think there's a couple more Outland pages, yeah, or pieces. Some of these scans are pretty rando, but it was cool enough that I wanted to show you. But isn't that cool? Man, that is awesome. He could do some really, really great, creepy sci-fi. Look at this. It's the full spread. This is nice. It's like someone had requested Keith Giffen. I mean, I definitely would consider doing a video of his. I don't know where my Trencher issues are, and I couldn't find any sort of digital version of it, but I definitely had those comics. So if I come across them, I will do a Keith Giffen one. His work changed so much, and I know that you had, I think, specifically asked for Trencher. We already did this page. This is really cool. But yeah, if I can find Trencher, I'll do it. Because that was a really, really chaotic and kind of crazy style. This is very Bollywood. It's awesome though. I like that. The straps on this are great. Like the leather, brown leather with the sort of steel buckle. Yeah, this is awesome. That is such a great cover. Woo. This is nice too. You could do G.I. Joe. Isn't that really cool? Look at that. I love his little gun, the ammo and stuff. Oh, it looks really cool. It's an exciting piece. Muy exciting, no. Oh, yeah. He drew on some of this, but it looks like he might have blown up a photo. I mean, clearly he did. But it's funny. He gave it like very, almost like the Thing fingers. But it looks cool. That actually is really cool. Yeah, he incorporated it pretty nice. This stuff is sort of a dead giveaway of a photo, though. I mean, not obviously here, but I'm just saying in general. But you can learn to do this and mimic it. I got really good at it when I was doing my black drawings, because it's like, once you start to realize where you can sort of put in little extra hits of light and how light falls on things, you can really make some super believable looking stuff out of just sort of, I don't know if I call it bullshit, but you know what I mean? If you know this is the shape and you want to build around it, yeah, you can actually do some really cool stuff with like 3 or 4 minor techniques. This is a pencil sketch, I think, from later in his career. You can see the structure starting to drift a little bit. It's a little rubbery. This is cool. Pencil sketch. This was from '68. Man, that's awesome. Yeah, that is really cool. Oh, a lot of different ways to ink that. I'll tell you that. It would be hard. This is cool. I don't know what year this was. Some of these may have been even kind of like recreations of pieces that he did or sort of homages to him, but this is tighter, you know, tighter than what he was doing back then. Everything is delineated. You see the lines all connect. I'm teaching someone right now, and I'm recommending that they break their lines up a little bit more. You kind of have to know your forms, though, better. This is great. I guess this says Defender. That's cool. And these are little photo stats he put in, but they're pretty neat. As crazy as this guy is, I'm surprised he didn't just draw him. But that's really, really cool. It would make a great pop art poster. Throw all that kind of crazy color on it. Again, you can see references to some of the stuff I mentioned before. Wally Wood, maybe Al Williamson. I don't really see a ton of Frazetta in this, honestly. I mean, this looks like early Frazetta, but also Frazetta looked like Hal Foster, and, you know, I mean, there was a lot of that going around. It's cool stuff, though. This is solid. Nice gesture with the hand right there. He has fancy boots. This is cool. What was interesting is this row started to remind me of like Walter Simonson, or maybe Barry Windsor Smith might have been influenced by this. This was cool too. Very stony. This is nice. Really, really cool. Alright, we gotta wind this up. I got stuff to do. This is cool. My only criticism on this was when I initially saw it is it really sits a lot in the same value range. If he could have created a little tiny bit more contrast on it, it would have looked a little tiny bit more dynamic. I don't know if I can do it all in one pass. And let me hit the whites a little bit. Or actually, I would have made her super haunting and then maybe even pull this darker. I could take the, it just reads a little more sort of, I mean, you could even go super dark. Sometimes super dark looks cool. That might be a little too dark. You could play with it, but yeah, it like he was sitting in such a consistent value range with it. Even in color, it looked a little weird. So let's go back to full screen. Anyway, I like to try to tinker with stuff and sort of problem solve, you know. But they did the heavy lifting to tweak up drawing like that. Doesn't take any skill, really. It's just more from my own personal sort of thought process. I don't really do it that much. Honestly, I don't even think I ever really do it without a video. A couple of times I think I might have. I went through some Chris Bacalo Shade the Changing Man stuff that had those really bright, colorful reproductions, and I turned them black and white because I wanted to see the art in black and white. It worked well because of the reproductions were so like tinkered with. This is cool. This is interesting what he did right here. Kind of like that. It's different. It's super high contrast. It looks neat, you know. People will go, looks like Frank Miller, Sin City. Possibly. This was a Comic-Con piece of art that he did. It's kind of fun, different. Popeye and Snoopy and Charlie Brown. And characters that I don't know. I don't know who that is. It looks familiar. This I really don't know what that is. And these, not so much. That looks kind of familiar. This I have no idea. Maybe they're just randos. This is a great pose. I love the way this guy's falling back. That's great too. This is nice. This is nice. It's funny that he does his name as a paste up. He was very particular. That's probably why they let him design the artist edition. Here we go. A couple last Outland pages. So good, man. This stuff is so awesome. I'm definitely going to pull out my heavy metal magazines. I know for a fact I have a couple of these. I remember seeing it. It was the funny thing is I was like, I've seen this stuff before, but I couldn't remember where. Look at that. Entertainment for the astronauts. This is good stuff, man. This was a nice piece too. Again, he picks what I would consider sometimes unorthodox poses for his heroes, but it's different, you know. It's like he's not just doing a standard pose. He tries to come up with something, and you know, this is cool. This dude's like, I'm gonna kick your ass, and I'm not gonna wear a shirt. Let's go. This is really cool. These layovers and stuff that he started to do are really cool. Man, this is such an interesting evolution of Jack Kirby art. His pants are great too. Again, dude, he does really cool legs. This is all great too. He was really drawing well at that point. This is awesome too. His head's a little off. Would need to be redrawn. I can already tell. if I move it, it won't really, I don't think, settle in right. It's like there's, it's the pose of the head and a few things. The neck isn't drawn where it's gonna be able to be adjusted. Yeah, it's tough. It's just he drew too much of a side view with the head, but that's probably, yeah. Is the center of his body? Where is it? So it kind of goes like this. I guess he's showing it there. It's just, you need to see more back of the head. It's like there's a like, it's got a few things that would need to be adjusted. This is really cool, and again, that rubbery pose. It's super him, man. It's just like, but he's keeping the wump, you know, the stretched out S curves. It gives it a very surreal quality, which he clearly likes. This is nice. Very Steranko. Could be a Bob Dylan poster. Or like an old pulp, like a pulp cover. This is cool too. This is a very small scan, but his thigh is a little chiseled off. Oh yeah, this is cool. Man, what a spread. I'm assuming this was like a gatefold of some sort. I don't know. I can't imagine that. Oh, maybe this was the bottom 4 panels. If it is, dude. Well, no. No, this has got to have been drawn bigger. This looks like a 4-page spread. I don't know if Marvel did that back then. Could have been a double pager, and then you open it up to the next double pager. 2, 3, 4, 5, which would lead me to believe that there's another panel or something. It's an interesting piece. Let me know what was the deal with this. If anyone knows Steranko stuff, this is really, really cool. This guy is gonna like totally hypnotize you when you fight him. Were these just small panels? It's like it feels like the scale of it is bigger. It's not that you couldn't draw this small in like a bottom tier of a page, but I don't know. And then this, look at that. Dude is nuts. That's really, really cool. 82. So if this was drawn in like 82 or 83, what was Frank Miller working on at that point? Was he already on Daredevil? This is cool. Yeah, that is really neat. I love how it curves around. You see that it starts to go back. It comes down. It even kind of, it's like almost like raises and then this is a great touch right here. This flipped back. Oh man. Or I guess it's, yeah. He flipped it back so he could climb up there. It's amazing. Alright, that's it. Alright, have a great day. Smash the like. If you want to learn more about drawing or inking or more book reviews and all that, definitely check out Patreon. I'm going to be uploading something for them today, and there's between 400 and 500 videos there now, so it's really, really good. And thank you for hanging out, and please share my videos if you can. If you made it to the end of this video, you're definitely hardcore. So yeah, thank you. Later.